Welcome back to Detour Ahead Moto and my ride down the Pacific Coast Highway. My weeks of mad preparations were done, or as done as I could get them, and I was stoked to find not much holiday traffic and a cool sunny day so I could fly down the Oregon coast, breathing in its glory. But let's back up to earlier that morning on my royal send-off. I'm grateful to have had so much good fortune in my life, and my family, friends, and neighbors are the gold nuggets of that fortune. It was a surprise. As I loaded my bike in the early morning, a couple lovely kids from the block appeared with green flags, and soon the whole street had turned out to launch me toward Patagonia. It's a neighborhood of artists and writers, teachers and techies, runners, bikers, and ultimate Frisbee champions, hardcore gardeners and experts on Oregon wine, chickens, dogs, cats, an old school bus that's being lovingly remade as a camper, brilliant children who dance and shoot hoops and chalk 4 square courts on the street and do magic tricks door to door. We are a community. And I'm grateful too for the good fortune that allows me to take this long trip to the tip of South America. So yes, mad preparations as I worked to scratch off items from that 9-page list. And Aria and Brad were helping with the bike until the day before I left, cutting off the old chain and replacing it, along with new sprockets, tires that I hope will get me as far as Colombia, brakes that should take me all the way to Tierra del Fuego. This is the rock in Port Orford that marks the end of the Transamerica Trail, a system of dirt tracks and gravel roads all the way from the Atlantic coast of Georgia to the Pacific coast, this spot of beach here in Oregon. John and I rode the Oregon section of the trail a couple summers ago. High mountain passes, dives into icy rivers at the end of each day, the deep red sand on the east side of the Cascades that got the better of us, and we nicknamed the Sands of Satan. I cross the border and arrive in Crescent City, California, with Battery Point Lighthouse, built on that rock out there in 1856. I take a break here for coffee, then climb the steep and windy knob of land that's the first dense forest of redwoods on 101 going south. This stretch seems to have its own microclimate, and in the past I've ridden it in fog so thick it covers my visor worse than rain. So I'm pleased by the sun cutting through the canopy. And the magnificent redwoods. I love that 101 funnels into these two tight lanes for a few miles so that everyone driving through these forests, even if they don't take the Valley of the Giants detour or stop at one of the state parks, has to slow down, has to bow down to these majestic trees. And then it's day 3, and after a night with an old friend, a foggy San Francisco morning. Too foggy even to see the city, but the Golden Gate Bridge never disappoints. The sun comes out as I crest the Santa Cruz Mountains, and the lush coastline of Oregon and Northern California turns dry. I stop for lunch, and I plan to visit the Henry Miller Library on the south side of Big Sur. Plenty of hikers parked at the spot, but the library is closed. Miller lived in Big Sur for 18 years and writes lovingly of the peace and beauty he found here. It's no surprise that this highway clinging to these dry mountainsides washes out every few years. It's only recently reopened since the latest collapse. Anyway, the curves, the views, and the anticipation of all that's ahead of me on this trip are exhilarating. I'm just eating this ride up. And then I'm passing through Malibu and Santa Monica, places that, like the Golden Gate Bridge in California generally, seemed mythical to me growing up in the Northeast. The idea that I might ever visit one of those places seemed like complete fantasy. Never mind live in California, as I did for a few wonderful years. And yes, there are freeways and choking traffic, but that doesn't diminish the electric and giddy disbelief that I'm riding a motorcycle through Xanadu. ride into West Hollywood where my sister and brother-in-law are waiting for me with cold drinks and a delicious dinner, more than I'm grateful for. A few days rest, some tweaks to my gear, as well as a hike in the Hollywood Hills, and then I'll depart again, surely remembering the send-off from my neighbors, this time to finally cross the border into Mexico.